Hey, how you doing? Hey, my name is Vic. Pleasure to meet you.
Hey, Vic.
I'm a barber from Fayetteville, North Carolina, and I would love to bless you with a free haircut.
Well, that's very nice of you. Thank you. I appreciate it, but I just got my trim about a week ago.
What about a conversation? Is that cool?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, let's do it. What is your name and what do you do?
My name's Roger Goodell, and I'm Commissioner of the NFL.
So being the NFL Commissioner, what was the dream for you as you were a young man, though?
Well, I always loved football, but when I graduated from college, I wrote a letter to my dad saying thank you for the opportunity and to get a college education, but also I wanted to make him proud, and I wanted to be NFL Commissioner. And most people thought that was pretty silly. And by the way, it probably is, because I think there's only been 8 of us in 102 years. So it probably wasn't a realistic dream, but on the other hand, it was something that was mine. It was my passion.
So what is one thing that stuck out to you the most about what they taught you?
For my dad, it was courage. He was the United States Senator, and he was very strong on civil rights. He was very strong on ending the Vietnam War. He actually introduced legislation to end the war. He knew that would end his career. The lesson he taught us in that was stand up for what's right, have the courage to do what's right, and deal with the consequences. And particularly if you know the consequences are negative, that takes even more courage. So the courage was something that was really important to me. To my mom, it was really about loyalty and how to deal with people. She was really frank with people. People loved her because of that, and she was a guiding light.
Now, I love what you said about your dad, and I've always been taught at a young age to stand on your word no matter what the consequence may be. Right. And that's important. That's what I try to tell a lot of other young people. And, quite frankly, that's why I was really inspired by actions of Kaepernick, and because not knowing or even knowing the consequence he may face, the fact is that you stand on your word and stand by what you believe in. I got to give respect to do so. So I was wondering, over the last couple of years of protest and empowerment, how has your view changed on what Mayor Kaepernick has done?
Well, I don't know if it's changed. I think, the reality is he was standing up for what he believed in, and I think he was bringing attention to something that really needed to be brought attention to. We needed to understand what was going on in our communities. He and a lot of NFL players were very instrumental in helping us all understand that, I think. And as a society in general, those of us who may not have been exposed to it really understood what was going on. And I'm proud of our players for standing up for that, including Cap, but also for our clubs who, said we've got to do something here. We can support our players here. We can support our communities and make really healthy changes.
What kind of action do you think the NFL should take to empower players to give back to their communities?
Well, we do. One of the biggest things is helping the players understand the platform they have. As an NFL player, you have a platform, and you should use that. You should use your voice. You should use that platform to talk about things that are important to you as a player. It's one of the things I talk about our players. I am so proud of our players. They're incredible young men, incredible families, what they give back to their communities and the things that they believe in. And they use that platform really effectively, and we try to help them. We try to support that.
I've always said that from day one for me especially, is that if God would ever bless me with a platform, that I would use it for the right reasons. And I stuck to that word even till today, that, if I have an opportunity to inspire millions of kids, I want to inspire them to be who they really are and to chase their dreams. And that was always important to me, to try to use our platform and our voice to create change for our communities.
What inspired you to take this approach?
Really my community. Growing up in Fayetteville, North Carolina, my dad was one that always taught me to stand by what I believe in and trying to make a change for ones that feel like they don't have a voice. That was always important for me. And we grew up in a community where you're not really seen in any other light other than going to the military or going to college. And for me to be one that has a passion, otherwise I was told all the time that I would never make it out. So my inspiration was to break the narrative of what it is that we can accomplish from small inner cities, and that's the motivation to now reach back and show many other kids how they can do the same thing. It may not be Fayetteville, but from wherever they're at, you can definitely create those opportunities.
One of the things that I'm always interested when I talk to younger people, what are the things you overcame? So you had to overcome a lot to do that, right? You had to overcome a generation of people who said, no, this is what you do, and you broke that mold, and you're an inspiration to a lot of people, so good for you.
I appreciate that. What do you think the hardest hurdle for you was, maybe personally, to become commissioner? Not maybe from what other people would say, but the battle between you versus you, I think, is the most important battle.
Yeah, when I was young, Vic, I wasn't the best student in high school. I cared about sports, and I probably put too much attention on that. And I have 4 brothers, so we're 5 boys in 7 years. They were all great students. They were all great kids. And I think people didn't believe I could really be something. It sort of created a motivation for me when I went to college to say, I got to prove to people I can be somebody. And so I really just worked. I focused on it, and I said, I've got to do this. Part of it was I didn't want to let my family down. I wanted to prove to them that I could be something special too. They still supported me all the way. It wasn't that they weren't there to support, but I think they said I was underachieving, I think is the way they put it. And I was. That was probably the biggest thing for me to overcome.
I know the both proud of you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I hope so. That's why you live this life, is make people proud of you, particularly the people who gave you those opportunities, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You have to. You gotta get back to the ones that made you, man.
Definitely.
Nah, absolutely. One thing, especially too, about for me, is to break barriers and to show kids that they are not limited to whatever it is that they think they can achieve. I think it was important for me to use my voice first and not be limited to my craft. That was the first thing that I felt I was limited to, was only the one thing that people thought I was good at. For me to break that and to show kids that they can achieve anything that's possible, I see that for us, speaking from our communities, that a limit that we've seen in the NFL organization may be in the ownership stake. Do you think there are pathways and things that people could do, whether it's the players or other investors, to maybe have an opportunity at ownership stake in the NFL?
Yeah, we do have minority owners, but we want more. We feel like we can have more diversity in ownership. And actually, when the 32 clubs come together and meet, they develop policy. One of the things they all voted on collectively, unanimously, by the way, is that we want to seek more diversity in ownership. So that's for the existing owners. We also have a club being sold to the Denver Broncos right now, and we made it clear we would like to see diversity in that ownership group that comes in. We don't select that, but we do approve it. I'm hopeful and believe that we'll continue to see more opportunities.
I want to make sure that, for myself, that I continue to try to give a voice to the people that feel like they might not have a voice. What do you think the NFL should be doing right now to strengthen maybe the voice of some of the black coaching staff and players that have on and off the field?
Well, we're trying to do whatever we can to give them the opportunities. That's number one, right?
Yeah.
We want to develop them, and we want to give them those opportunities to be head coaches, general managers. And we've made real progress, but progress is never enough in my view. I think the fundamental issue you have to do is be able to listen, right, and have respect for people and understand their perspective and use that to get better. What we're trying to do is get better and give those opportunities so that we do see better diversity among head coaches. We're seeing it in other positions. We haven't done as well in head coaches, and we got to do that. I don't think we spent as much time on any issue in the last 5 years as diversity and inclusion. And I think it's warranted, because I think it's important to who we are and where we want to go. So I do believe it's something that will be a good example. We got to do better though.
So this Super Bowl was an extremely important one for the culture that we live in, especially being hip-hop as the main event. Looking at the partnership that you guys have with Roc Nation, do you think that might open doors for more of a progressive company?
Yeah, I think our relationship, and that's what great partnerships are, they complement you, they make you better. And I think Roc Nation has made the NFL better. Clearly, the core objective for our partnership was to make our halftime shows better, more entertaining, more diverse, more opportunity to bring more people into the game. They clearly achieved that since we've had this relationship. But it's actually been much broader. They've actually helped us in all of our social justice efforts and inspire change. And I consider Jay and I consider Des Perez, who two key people that we deal with, are great partners and a big part of our success. But that platform of the halftime show is bigger than any platform in the world. 208 million people watched the Super Bowl this year, and the most people watched during the halftime show. And so that platform gave us an opportunity, one, to show the genre of rap and how exciting it is. And I think the performers did an unbelievable job. The people who helped create it did an unbelievable job. And it helped bring everyone together. And you may not necessarily be your favorite genre of music, but I think people enjoyed it coming together and sort of seeing what I thought was some of the best entertainment ever. And so we were really proud of that show.
If Roger today can speak to 18-year-old Roger, what would you tell yourself?
Believe in yourself. You can do it. You may not have gotten off to the best start, but you did that. And, believe in yourself. You just got to work hard. I've always said there are people who are smarter, there are people more talented, there are people better athletes, there are people who are better at everything. But nobody can outwork me. I can outwork anybody. And so I've always thought that was an advantage for me.
That's the key right there.
I can control it, and you can control it, right?
Absolutely.
And I really believe doing what's important in your heart, too.
Yeah, I appreciate you taking time to be vulnerable, sit down and have a conversation. I'm sorry I couldn't get you with a haircut, but
next time.
Next time for sure.
You're in.
I appreciate you.
Okay, thanks, Vic.